Hello, family. God bless you. We finished the book one and two of Adam and Eve. The next book I will be beginning with is the book of Enoch, chapter one. The words of the blessing of Enoch, with which he blessed the elect and righteous, who will be living in the day of tribulation, when all the wicked and godless are to be removed. And he began his story saying, Enoch, a righteous man, whose eyes were opened by God, saw the vision of the Holy One in heaven, which the angels showed me. And I heard everything from them, and I saw and understood. But it was not for this generation, but for a remote one which is to come. Concerning the elect, I said, as I began my story concerning them, the Holy Great One will come out from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread on the earth, on Mount Sinai, and appear in the strength of his might from heaven. And all shall be very afraid, and the watchers shall shake, and great fear and trembling shall seize them to the ends of the earth. And the high mountains shall be shaken, and the high hills shall be laid low, and shall melt like wax in the flame. And the earth shall be wholly torn apart, and all that is on the earth shall be destroyed, and there shall be a judgment on all. But with righteous he will make peace, and will protect the elect, and mercy shall be on them. And they shall all belong to God, and they shall prosper, and they shall be blessed, and the light of God shall shine on them. And behold, he comes with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment on all, and to destroy all the ungodly, and to convict all flesh of all the works of their ungodliness, which they have ungodly committed, and of all the hard things which ungodly sinners have spoken against him. Chapter 2. Observe everything that takes place in the sky, how the lights do not change their orbits, and the luminaries which are in heaven, how they all rise and set in order, each in its season, and do not transgress against their appointed order. Consider the earth, and give understanding to the things which take place on it from start to finish. How steadfast are they? How none of the things on the earth can change, but all the works of God appear to you. Behold the summer and the winter, how the whole earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain lie on it. Chapter 3. Observe and see how all the trees seem as though they had withered and shed all their leaves, except 14 trees, which do not lose their foliage, but remain the old foliage from 2 to 3 years until the new comes. Chapter 4. And again, observe the days of summer, how the sun is above the earth, and you seek shade and shelter because of the heat of the sun. And the earth also burns with growing heat. And so you cannot walk on the earth or on a rock because of its heat. Chapter 5. Observe how the trees are covered with green leaves and how they bear fruit. Understand, know, and recognize that He that lives forever made them this way for you. And all His works go on before Him from year to year forever. And all the work and the task which they accomplish for Him do not change. And so is it done. Consider how the sea and the rivers in like manner accomplish their course, do not change because of His commandments. But you have neither held to nor have you done the commandments of the Lord, but you have turned away and spoken proud and hard words with your unclean mouths against His greatness. Oh, you hard-hearted, you shall find no peace. Therefore shall you curse your days, and the years of your life shall perish, and the years of your destruction shall be multiplied, and in an eternal curse you shall find no mercy. In those days you shall make your names an eternal curse to all the righteous, and by you shall all who curse, and all the sinners and godless shall curse you forever. And for you, the godless, there shall be a curse. And all the elect shall rejoice, and there shall be forgiveness of sins, and mercy, and peace, and forbearance, and joy. There shall be salvation for them, a good light, and for all of you sinners there shall be no salvation, but on you all shall abide a curse. But the elect there shall be light and joy and peace, and they shall inherit the earth. And then wisdom shall be given to the elect, and they shall all live and never again sin, either through forgetfulness or through pride. But those who are given wisdom shall be humble, and they shall not again transgress, nor shall they sin all the days of their life, nor shall they die of the anger or wrath of God. But they shall complete the number of the days of their lives, and their lives shall be increased in peace, and their years will grow in joy and eternal gladness and peace all the days of their lives. Chapter 6. And it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied that in those days were born to them beautiful and fair daughters. And the angels, the sons of heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and have children with them. And Samjaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear you will not agree to do this deed, and I alone shall have to pay the penalty of this great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath and all bind ourselves by mutual curses so that we will not abandon this plan to do this thing. Then they all swore together and bound themselves by mutual curses. And they were in all 200 who descended in the days of Jared in the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called it Mount Hermon because they had sworn and bound themselves by mutual curses on the act. And these are the names of their leaders. Samlazaz, their leader. Arakbo, Ramiel, Rameel, Cocablel, Tamlel, Ramlel, Danel, Ezekiel, Barakiel, Asael, Armorus, Batarel, Ananel, Zachiel, Samsapil, Satarel, Turul, Jumjal, Saril. These are their chiefs of tens. Chapter 7. And all of them together went and took wives for themselves, each choosing one for himself. And they began to go in to them and to defile themselves with sex with them. And the angels taught them charms and spells and the cutting of roots and made them acquainted with plants. And the women became pregnant, and they bare large giants, whose height was 3,000 cubits. The giants consumed all the work and toil of men, and when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. Chapter 8. And Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and taught them about metals of the earth and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of forgive me, family, antimony, and the beautifying of the eyelids, and all kinds of precious stones, and all coloring and dyes. And there was a great impiety. They turned away from God and committed fornication, and they were led astray and became corrupt in all their ways. Simjaza taught the casting of spells and root cuttings. Amorus taught counter spells. Barakiel taught astrology. Kokabel taught the constellations. Ezekiel, the knowledge of the clouds. Arakiel, the signs of the earth. Shamsiel, the signs of the sun. And Sariel, the course of the moon. And as men perished, they cried, and their cry went up to heaven. Chapter 9. And then Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel looked down from heaven and saw much blood being shed on the earth, and all lawlessness being done on the earth. And they said to each other, let the cries from the destruction of earth ascend up to the gates of heaven. And now to you, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make their petition, saying, bring our cause before the Most High. And they said to the Lord of the ages, Lord of lords, God of gods, King of kings, and the God of the ages, the throne of your glory endures through all the generations of the ages, and your name holy and glorious and blessed to all the ages. You have made all things, and you have power over all things, and all things are revealed and open in your sight. And you see all things, and nothing can hide itself from you. Look at what Azazel has done. Who hath taught all unrighteousness on the earth and revealed the eternal secrets which were made and kept in heaven, which men were striving to learn? And Simjaza, who taught spells, to whom you gave authority to rule over his associates. And they have gone to the daughters of men on the earth, and have had sex with the women, and have defiled themselves, and revealed to them all kinds of sins. And the women have bore giants, and the whole earth has thereby been filled with blood and unrighteousness. Excuse me. And now, behold, the souls of those who have died are crying out and making their petition to the gates of heaven. And their lament has ascended and cannot cease because of the lawless deeds which are done on earth. And you know all things before they come to pass. And you see these things, and you have permitted them. And say nothing to us about these things. What are we to do with them about these things? Chapter 10. Then said the Most High, the great and holy one, Uriel, go to the son of Lamech. Say to him, go to Noah and tell him in my name, hide yourself, and reveal to him the end that is approaching, that the whole earth will be destroyed, and a flood is about to come on the whole earth and will destroy everything on it. And now instruct him as to what he must do to escape, that his offspring may be preserved for all generations of the world. And again the Lord said to Raphael, bind Azazel hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and split open the desert, which is in Dudel, and cast him in, and fill the hole by covering him rough and jagged rocks, and cover him with darkness, and let him live there forever, and cover his face that he may not see the light. And on the day of the great judgment, he shall be hurled into the fire, and heal the earth which the angels have ruined, and proclaim the healing of the earth. For I will restore the earth and heal the plague, that not all of the children of men may perish through all the secret things that the watchers have disclosed and have taught their sons. The whole earth has been corrupted through the works that were taught by Azazel. To him ascribe all sin, in capital letters. To Gabriel said the Lord, proceed against the bastards and the reprobates, and against the children of fornication, and destroy the children of fornication, and the children of the watchers. Cause them to go against one another, that they may destroy each other in battle. Shorten their days. No request that their fathers make of you shall be granted them on their behalf, for they hope to live an eternal life, and that each one of them will live 500 years. And the Lord said to Michael, go, bind Simjaza and his team, who have associated with women and have defiled themselves in all their uncleanness. When their sons have slain one another, and they have seen the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them fast for 70 generations under the hills of the earth, until the day of the consummation of their judgment, and until the eternal judgment is accomplished. This author's note is 70 generations of 500 years equal 3,500 years. Take it for what it's worth, I guess. In those days, they shall be led off to the abyss of fire, and to the torment and the prison in which they shall be confined forever. Then Simjaza shall be burnt up with the condemned, and they will be destroyed, having been bound together with them to the end of all generations. Destroy all the spirits of lust and the children of the watchers, because they have wronged mankind. Destroy all wrong from the face of the earth, and let every evil work come to an end, and let the earth be planted with righteousness, and let the planet of righteousness and truth appear, and it shall prove a blessing. The works of righteousness and truth shall be planted in truth and joy forevermore. And then shall all the righteous survive, and shall live until they beget thousands of children. And all the days of their youth and their old age shall they complete in peace. And then shall the whole earth be untilled in righteousness, and shall be planted with trees, and be full of blessing. And all desirable trees shall be planted on it, and they shall plant vines on it. And the vine which they plant shall yield fruit in abundance. And as for all the seed which is sown, each measurement shall bear 1,000, and each measurement of olives shall yield 10 presses of oil. You shall cleanse the earth from all oppression, and from all unrighteousness, and from all sin, and from all godlessness, and all the uncleanness that is brought to the earth, you shall destroy from off the earth. All the children of men shall become righteous, and all nations shall offer adoration and shall praise me. And all shall worship me, and the earth shall be cleansed from all defilement, and from all sin, and from all punishment, and from all torment. And I will never again send another flood from this generation to all generations and forever. Chapter 11. And in those days I will open the storehouse of blessings in heaven, and rain down blessings on the earth, and over the work and labor of the children of men. Truth and peace shall be united throughout all the days of the world and throughout all the generations of men. Chapter 12. Then Enoch disappeared, and no one of the children of men knew where he was hidden and where he abode, and what had become of him. And his activities were with the holy ones and the watchers. And I, Enoch, was blessing the Lord of majesty and the King of the ages. And lo, the watchers called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, you scribe of righteousness, go, tell the watchers of heaven who have left the high heaven, the holy eternal place, and have defiled themselves with women, and have done as the children of earth do, and have taken to themselves wives. You have done great destruction on the earth, and you shall have no peace nor forgiveness of sin, since they delight themselves in their children. They shall see the murder of their beloved ones, and the destruction of their children and they shall lament, and shall make supplication forever. You will receive neither mercy nor peace. Chapter 13. And Enoch went and said, Azazel, you shall have no peace. A severe sentence has been passed against you, that you should be bound. And you shall not have rest or mercy, because of the unrighteousness which you have taught, and because of all the works of godlessness and unrighteousness and sin which you have shown to men. Then I went and spoke to them all together, and they were all afraid, and fear and trembling seized them. And they asked me to write a petition for them, that they might find forgiveness, and to read their petition in the presence of the Lord of heaven. They had been forbidden to speak, nor were they to lift up their eyes to heaven for shame of their sins, because they had been condemned. Then I wrote out their petition and the prayer in regard to their spirits and their deeds individually, and in regard to their request that they should obtain forgiveness and forbearance. And when I went off and sat down at the waters of Dan, in the land of Dan, to the southwest of Hermon, I read their petition until I fell asleep. And then I had I had a dream, and I saw a vision of their chastisement, and a voice came to me that I would reprimand them. And when I awoke, I came to them, and they were all sitting gathered together, weeping in Abel's jail, weeping in Abel's jail, which is between Lebanon and Senneser, with their faces covered. And I recounted to them all the visions which I had seen when I was asleep. And I began to speak the words of righteousness and to reprimand heavenly watchers. Chapter 14. This is the book of the words of righteousness and of the reprimand of the eternal watchers, in accordance with the command of the Holy Great One, in that vision I saw in my sleep. What I will now say with a tongue of flesh and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to men to speak with it and to understand with the heart, as he has created and given to man the power of understanding the word of wisdom. So has he created me also, and given me the power of reprimanding the watchers, the children of heaven. I wrote out your petition, and in my vision it appeared that your petition will not be granted to you throughout all the days of eternity, and that judgment has been finally passed on you. Your petition will not be granted. From here on, you shall not ascend into heaven again for all eternity, and you will be bound on earth for all eternity. Before this, you will see the destruction of your beloved sons, and you shall have no pleasure in them, but they shall fall before you by the sword. Your petition shall not be granted on their behalf or on yours. Even though you weep and pray and speak all the words contained in my writings, in the vision I saw clouds that invited me and summoned me into a mist, and the course of the stars and the flashes of lightning, and hurried me and drove me. And the winds in the vision caused me to fly and lifted me up and bore me into heaven. And I went in until I drew near to a wall which was built out of crystals and surrounded by tongues of fire, and it began to frighten me. I went into the tongues of fire and drew near a large house which was built of crystals, and the walls of the house were like a mosaic of hailstones, and the floor was made of crystals like snow. The ceiling was like the path of the stars and lightning flashes, and between them were fiery cherubims. Their sky was clear as water. A flaming fire surrounded the walls, and its doors blazed with fire. I entered that house, and it was hot as fire and cold as ice. There were no pleasures or life therein. Fear covered me, and trembling got hold of me. As I shook and trembled, I fell on my face, and I saw a vision, and lo, there was a second house, greater than the first, and all the doors stood open before me, and it was built of flames of fire, and in every respect it was splendid and magnificent to the extent that I cannot describe it to you. Its floor was of fire, and above it was lightning and the path of the stars, and its ceiling also was flaming fire. And I looked and saw a throne set on high. Its appearance was like crystal, and its wheels were like a shining sun, and there was the vision of cherubims. And from underneath the throne came rivers of fire, so that I could not look at it. And he who is great in glory sat on the throne, and his raiment shone more brightly than the sun, and was whiter than any snow. None of the angels could enter or could behold his face because of the magnificence and glory, and no flesh could behold him. The sea of fire surrounded him, and a great fire stood in front of him, and no one could draw close to him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, but he needed no holy counsel. The most holy ones who were near to him did not leave night or day. Excuse me, I'm updating something here. Okay. And until then, I had been prostrate on my face, trembling, and the Lord called me with his own mouth and said to me, "Come here, Enoch, and hear my word." And one of the holy ones came to me, picked me up, and brought me to the door. And I bowed down my face. And just think, family, these are our relatives. It's beautiful, isn't it? Thank you. God bless.